What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. In this video, I'm going to run through some of my Game Week 27 lineups and also some of the guys I think you should be targeting ahead of the lock. So make sure you stick around to the end to see the 5 guys I'm recommending that you have in your lineups ahead of the lock. Before we jump into that though, can I ask if you can click the subscribe button, leave a like, and make sure you comment your Sorare handle down below, because if we do win a limited card in the common champion lineups, I will be giving that away at random to one of you guys. So make sure your Sorare handle is in the comments down below. Let's just jump straight into it. So in a devastating turn of events for Game Week 26, we actually missed out on a reward in Rare Champion by less than a point. Sorare data has me down at 0.99, missing out on a tier 5 in Rare Champion. It's one of them things. We move on and we'll see what we can do in this one. So as I always say with Red Champion, you should always focus and prioritize on your champion teams 99 times out of 100. There will be that one time where you're not strong enough, so you should go for contender. But this week I'm liking my lineup. Chemsy Me Too for the Kings. He's been reinstated in that rotation, in that backup 5 center role that he's got. And he's scoring okay when he comes off. He'll get in and around sort of the high 10s towards the low 20s, and for a cap of 7, I'll take that all day long. Gary Trent Jr. is probably punching on the higher end, and an L10 of 38 is quite high for him, but he has been playing really well. They've got 2 games this week, and he allows me then, when I play my Jaylen Brown and my Anthony Edwards, who, despite I've got 1 game, they're my best players. I'm going to put them in champion. He fits in with my Andrew Wiggins, who's also got 2 games. So I don't think this will get a tier 1, tier 2. Not that you can get tier 1 in Rare Champion, but we'll save that for another day. I'm looking more potentially tier 4, maybe tier 3 if we're lucky, but who knows, we need the cards to fall for us. My rare contender lineup also pretty much picked itself. I picked up this Draymond Green last week just before the lock off Mike Zakarian. It made sure that he got Scotty Barnes, and Draymond Green worked for me in my lineup, but it just didn't hit my contender anyway. He scored well. I think he got 55 or 50. He got 47, but with the bonus it would have been 50. But my rare contender lineup anyway, I can play Joe Harris. He's in that starting role. He did put up a Tony Snell stat line the other day of like 0, 0, 0 and like 1 assist or something like that off of 3 shots. He got 4 points against the Spurs. You know, big Joe Harris, always putting up solid numbers for me. 2 games, Jazz and the Warriors. We'll wait and see. He should be getting in the 30s as a starter, but you never know. Dwight Powell's the same thing. Christian Wood's actually out now for a week, so he's a decent pickup this week and a decent play. I'm looking more towards the 20 and 30 score for him because Christian Wood's out, but Dwight Powell has been a steady Eddie of never really moving away from his L10 is what I'll say. Andrew Nemhard, because of the Pacers situation at the moment, he's just getting his usage rates flying up and up and up. He's probably the best buy I've got on this platform. I paid 20 quid for him 2 months ago. I think he's now in and around the 170 mark. What I will say though is he can have these games where he'll just bottom out and he will get a 20. So I'll play him in contender. I'm not going to put him in my champion, and he just didn't fit in my champion anyway. Mikal Bridges, 32. The Suns' issues are still there. He's still got a bump in usage rate, and for an L10 of 32 with 2 games, I'll take it all day long. And then rounding it out is RJ Barrett, and an L10 of 30 is too low for him, I'd say. He's more of the 35 mark, but for a contender lineup, it's quite strong on the basis that these are my 3 predominant guys. My 2 backups also should be getting good starting roles and good minutes. Same as before, always prioritize your champion lineups. For me, Joel Embiid, I'm not going to play Randall again. It's mad, but he just doesn't really work for me. If I move it about, I'll put Julius Randle in here. Do I think Randall can outscore Embiid across the 2 games? Potentially, but I'm always going to pick. If you gave me a choice between the 2 of them in the 3 games, I'm going to pick Joel Embiid against the Kings all day long. Chris Boucher here with an L10 of 14 is too low. I know he had a DNP on the last one. I think it was a coach's decision for the last game that the Raptors played. L10 of 14, if the Raptors are getting blown out, he won't really play. He comes on in that sort of bench unit, that second rotation guy, and he has scope to put up a double-double pretty regularly. I will say with Chris Boucher, there's 2 levels to the extreme. He can come on and get you 2, or he can come on and get you 28. They're the issues with Chris Boucher, but I'm willing to take the gamble, especially because it allows me to then play Dylan Brooks, who's a really, really good pickup this week. His L10 is far too low for a guy that averages like 16, 6, and 3. It's too low, so he should be in the 30s. Scotty Barnes is high. 40 L10 is a lot, but he's been playing really, really well of late. So I'm going to ride the Scotty Barnes coattails here. Hopefully, across the 2 games, he does well. So then, for the limited contender lineup, I'm still going to play Gabe Vincent. Now, I know what you're thinking. Kyle Lowry's back. Tyler Hero's back. Why are you still going to play Gabe Vincent? Kyle Lowry is going to be on a minutes restriction. He won't be playing mid to high 30s. He'll be playing low 30s, high 20s, I think, from now on. I think the coach has even said such. Gabe Vincent's going to see an uptick. His L10 is still low. 19 is it's nearer what he's expected, but if Kyle Lowry gets injured one of these games and then sits the other, I'm still happy playing Gabe Vincent on the upside that he's got here, and especially for the 8% that I've got on him, I'll ride the risk. He then allows me to play Bradley Beal. He's got a 1 game, it's against the Magic, but I think Bradley Beal, he's going to be one of the guys that isn't picked often or much in this limited contender lineup that we've got here across the whole scope of everyone that's playing, and as such, if he does pop off, he'll be a good outlier. I know 31's high for this sort of thing. It just fit with what I wanted to do with the rest of my lineup. Jake LaRavia is a gamble. I think he got sent back to the G League and then comes back, and this happens quite a lot. So if you do see one of the guys that you've got sent to the G League, don't really fret about it. They'll always get sent back to their parent club at some stage. They'll just chop and change them quite regularly anyway, especially rookie guys. If he comes off the bench, there is scope for him to get some decent points, but he allows me to then play Jonas Valanciunas, who's got 2 games, Magic and the Heat. He's just a great, I won him the other week. He's a solid output performer. He'll always get a double-double, maybe a couple of blocks, and you can see what you can get from him. And the same with Bruce Brown, really. He's a steady Eddie guy, but if Jamal Murray sits or if Jokic sits for one of these games or MPJ sits, he always sees an uptick in minutes and usage rate, depending on who goes, no matter what, really. He's their plug-in guy. So Bones Highland as well is a great option for this, but Bruce Brown's in my gallery. I got him as my referral code. If you haven't signed up to Sorare yet, I'll leave a link down below. If you can use it, you will get some free cards when you buy 5 at auction. It helps us out. It makes us look good. It will be very appreciated. Limited Western Conference lineup is a throwaway. I don't have the cards for it, so I'm going to put these guys in. They're not going to score anything or anything that will win, but they'll be there as another training lineup instead of me doing another training lineup. Finally, my common champion lineup. This is the lineup where if I do win a limited card, I'll be giving it away to one of you guys. So make sure you leave your Sorare handle in the comments down below, because if we do win, I'll be giving away at random. The guys that I've picked, we've got Luka Doncic. Need I say much more about him, really? He's your MVP. If you've got a common card of him, always play it. There's 2 games. I know it's a bit rough to say he's tailed off because he's still putting out really, really good numbers, but from what he was doing and that sort of crazy scoring run that there was, he's tailed off a bit. But for your MVP, I'll always play him. LeBron has just been on scintillating form recently. He's got 2 games again against the Blazers, who he loves playing. So I'm just going to, again, play him. Dylan Brooks, like I said before, really low L10 for what he should be putting, so there should be scope for him to outscore that. Terrence Mann's also there because, you know, he's just been doing really well of late. If one of Kawhi or Paul George sits, Terrence Mann is the guy that will come in, and you would expect an uppage in usage from him as well. And then Keldon Johnson, because after I picked these 4 guys, I had an L10 to 29. I had to look down the guys that I've got. Kyle Lowry's an option, but I'd rather play the Keldon Johnson, even with the 1 game. It's against the Clippers. If they do rest, there's there. And also, he's just coming off the back of a stupidly good game against the Nets. So I know it's the Spurs, and they're going to want to lose, but I'm going to go for him anyway. So then, as I said at the top of the video, I'm going to give you guys some tips on who I think you should be picking for your lineups this week, if you've got them, no matter what, in common, in limited, in rare, and in super rare. Isaiah Hartenstein is the number 1 guy, I think, this week. Mitchell Robinson's out. I think he's got a sprained thumb, or he's broke his thumb, or it's a thumb-related injury. He will then come in for the Knicks. He'll see an uppage in usage, and for an L10 of just 10, it's a no-brainer, really. This is why you're also seeing a massive spike on his graph. If you think you've got a really strong lineup with 4 guys in, you have an L10 cap space left, I would then suggest maybe picking him up. If not, I wouldn't look to it. If you've got him already, you make the decision. If you either sell him if he doesn't fit in any of your lineups that you've got, or you play him if he does, because that's the way that this game works. You can either use him to try and win a better card or sell him and cash it. Of course, none of this is financial advice, but this is just my opinion. The next guy I've mentioned before will be Dylan Brooks. His L10 is simply just too low for what he's out doing. 21 is far, far too low for someone who on the season is 17-3-3, gets a steal a game. I know there's a turnover in there, but 21's too low. Get him in your lineups. Third guy, Andrew Nembhard. Again, with the Pacers situation, he's seeing an uppage in usage. You can also he's got a really interesting graph of that he'll always go up and down, but across the season, I don't know why the season one's not showing there, but maybe that's because it's just bugged. But his L10, he's picked up, you can see, across the L10 to the L40. It's a no-brainer on the usage rate. I think he has 2 games as well this week, and for an L10 of 19, get him in. This is an off-the-cuff one with D'Angelo Russell. I believe Austin Rivers is out and he'll be injured, which should then realistically see D'Angelo Russell's sort of overall usage in minutes be a bit more protected. There isn't going to be anyone changing in and out. There's obviously, of course, that he can get in foul trouble, or he's just playing bad and poorly. But for the 2 games that he's got, for the 1 game that he's got for the 29, I'm not sure what he's projecting here. Can I check this on here? He's projecting a 38 on a 29. It is against the Rockets for it. So if you've got the cap space and you're feeling it, potentially it's worth taking a risk on D'Lo this week. And the last guy that I'll say, and this is a little bit less than the others, is Obi Toppin. Obviously, because Mitchell Robinson's out, there is obviously the scope that Isaiah Hartenstein will observe that role. There is a chance that they move Randall to the 5 and play Toppin at the 4, or vice versa. The upside isn't as much as the upside isn't as good as the Hartenstein move, but if you've got a Toppin in your gallery already and you've got an L10 of 11 there, maybe it's worth a look. That's going to wrap that up there. Thank you very much for watching. If you haven't yet, please hit that subscribe button. It would help us out more than you can imagine. Don't forget to check the podcast. It's going to be dropping later on today or tomorrow, and we'll catch you in the next Sorare video. Peace.